So I've been watching um, some podcasts and YouTube channels that are quite large, and they have holistic or alternative healthcare providers on. And you know of Gary Brecka, you've seen Sean Baker, and I think it was some other one, but that I was watching. But the point is that they have these doctors coming on who are holistic, and they talk about the things that I like to talk about, and they talk about Lyme disease, and they talk about parasites, and they talk about what else am I looking at? They talk about candida and mold. They do 1.5 hours on mold, or they'll do like an hour and a half on parasites or toxins or detoxing, and they hit every single subject, and they know all the things that I know, and it's so confusing to you, the listener, because now what? So you have all this data. You have all this data, and then what are you going to do about it? You can't just start anywhere. You have to start somewhere smart. So like when somebody talks about mold for an hour and a half, and you may have mold. A lot of people have mold, but is it really you? Like how do you know like if you have mold or not? And then there's also problems with toxins. So if you're 80 years old, you probably have a lot of toxins. But there's kids that are 9 and they have a lot of toxins. But then I've tested a lot of people, and their toxins are very, very minimal compared to other problems such as mold, candida, parasites. So MVX Plus is the test to figure out like what the heck's going on with you. That's what really matters. So it's kind of a big deal. I mean, there's all the YouTube channel, all the videos, all the articles, all the books. And what about you? That's what really matters. And this test is like crazy cheap. And it's I charge $89 for it, and that's my retail markup. So there's the wholesale cost is lower than that. And so for the first time now, you can test yourself to figure out like where to start with your health. Where to, is it malnutrition? Is it inflammation? Is it infection? So these are things that were frustrating me throughout my whole career. I've been at this now in nutrition practice since 1998. And it's been frustrating because somebody would say, oh, I just watched a video about, and they name a subject and they start taking the supplement for it. Or they have like a problem with their fatigue or something, and they say, oh, it's my adrenals. And so, but yeah, okay, fine. What about them? What's causing that? And they're just on an adrenal support. And it's not good enough. And the medical literature says there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. And so it's, there's a lot of people that still talk about that. It's more mitochondrial fatigue. And so now we're talking about like the crux of like what's going on with your body. So now a lot of people with chronic illness have all the things. They have all the things. Hey, Dr. Bates. So they got candida, they got some chronic virus, they have some toxins, metals, chemicals. Most everybody has metals and chemicals. They might be malnourished. They might be not digesting their food very well. They might be deficient in B1. And this test measures all that stuff. It measures the most important things combined, which is really amazing. And then, so it measures all these things, and then it directs you down the path where to go. If you know how to read it. I know how to read it. And it takes some training. It's not like a 4-year PhD type of training. It can be done in 3 hours. I've taught couple dozen doctors live, and I've done a few webinars to an audience of 100 or more doctors. So for an hour, like that's kind of an intro, but to really understand it, it's 3 hours plus practice, plus getting your hands dirty with it and running it on people, and then doing before and afters, like put somebody on a detox program. And I was talking to a doctor last week about this, and he's got quite a large supplement company. I've talked with, I think, 4 or 5 supplement companies now, and they need to run it, and they need to use it in their investigations on their own products to make sure that their products are working well. But I was talking to this doctor, and they said it measures longevity, it measures, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, infection, toxicity. And he goes, and they might have, let's say 80 products And he goes, okay, well, I'll set this up like a longevity program. And I'm like, no, don't do that. It'll crash and burn. So just because you might learn a little bit about MVX Plus and not fully understand like all of it, you really need to understand all of it. And just because somebody's thinking, okay, MVX Plus, test for longevity, and you're gonna run with it like for your business or something, no, that's not a good idea. And so, and when I corrected him on it, I'm trying to sell it to him. I'm trying to sell him like, look, you should run this. It'll help your business. I'm helping other supplement companies, and he went with his idea. And when I corrected him on it, I don't think he liked it. He kind of rolled his eyes a little bit. But it takes a little bit more knowledge and experience to start running MVX and using it appropriately. So the main purpose of using it, I think, is to direct the patient down the right path. So that's you. Like, where do you need to go? There's people eating the carnivore diet, which is great. I'm on that diet. And they're not malnourished, but they have a lot of inflammation from some other source. And MVX shows that. Or it could be totally vice versa, right? Somebody could have no inflammation, but they're malnourished. And I've seen that, actually saw that with the vegan ones. Very, very malnourished as a vegan. And he had no inflammation. It was really amazing. But there's no way I could have known all that without using MVX Plus. So, so give me some questions. Do you have any knowledge on lipedema, excessive fat accumulation on legs? I had a person 20 years ago with that condition. Otherwise, no, I've not, and I didn't even try to help that person. So I've never really focused on lipedema. But you have to figure out, like, what is there some toxin or some infection or inflammation going in there? Run MVX Plus. Like, that's kind of a no-brainer to start there. Do you think AI will take over medical industry? I think so, yeah. Yeah, the AI reads x-rays and imaging better than humans. And I got a friend, he started an AI company, Wholeness something. And it's nutritional and holistic. And the new buyer will probably be somebody in Europe. And my friend's going to make $50 million. And he showed it to me. And he said, okay, ask me a question. So I asked him a question, and he typed it in. And the question was, how do you detox gas? Or how do you detox radon? That's what I said. And I know the answer. And he typed it in, and the answer was celery seed on AI. And I was like, that's not it. That's not the right answer. You need binders. Celery seed will get... No, it's not good enough. And I said to him, your AI is a baby. Like, it's great. It's pretty impressive, but that's not a good answer. Plus, you have to go through different other subjects, not just detoxing radon or whatever thing you're going to detox, but also drainage. And you got to address inflammation. You got to address their diet. So there's multiple factors instead of just giving a protocol. And that's part of the problem with medicine now. It's like they're looking for the diagnosis and the protocol. Boom. And then you're out. You're out the door. But so I told my friend who created this AI company, it's like, I wouldn't use it. I personally wouldn't use it. It needs more data. It needs more four-dimensional thinking, like time. So somebody, if they have parasites, you can't just start killing off parasites. I mean, you could, but there's steps before that and there's steps after that. So yeah, so I'm talking about getting your life in order, getting your health straight using MVX Plus. So I've been watching a lot of these YouTube videos, and there's a woman named Dr. Jess Petros. She's amazing. She's a medical doctor. I know her personally, and she was on Gary Brecka's podcast and YouTube channel. And Gary Brecka has millions of followers. And Jess hit all the points that I would hit for an hour and a half. They talked about mold, and there was an exciting, talk between the two of them. They're both high energy. They both talk a lot. They're both great. And after an hour and a half, it's like, where would you start? Like, if you were listening to that, where the heck would you start? You start with MVX Plus, and then you learn, is it infection, inflammation, toxicity, malnutrition, mitochondrial dysfunction? Then you can go back to that hour and a half lecture and hear what they had to say. and find out like what treatments, like if you have infection, inflammation, do you have mold? Is it parasites, Lyme bacteria? Is it your diet causing inflammation? Is it high fibrin? So there's a lot there, but at least you have a path and it's not malnutrition, it's not toxicity. I had a woman recently in the office, and she had a history of getting rid of parasites under my care. I put her on supplements for parasites, and she eliminated these things. You could see them over the course of many months. But she currently still has a bladder problem and diarrhea and fatigue. And we ran MVX Plus, and it showed very little inflammation or infection. But it showed a little bit of toxicity, but it mostly showed malnutrition. And she doesn't have enough money for meat, so she eats protein bars. And she's arguing with me. She's saying my diarrhea is caused by a virus, my bladder problem is caused by a parasite, my fatigue is caused by Lyme disease. And I said, look, your glyc-A is almost perfect. It's not any of those things. You're malnourished. Her amino acids were too low. And we went back and forth, and I was late for my next patient. I was irritated because she wouldn't believe me. And at one point she goes, okay, I believe you. Okay, got it. I was like, you need to go to Costco and buy big, 5 pounds of ground beef and start cooking it up. And she looks white, too pale and hollow and stuff. So hopefully that'll pick up and she'll get better. What would you consider in a different diagnosis for citrate from MVX Plus trending up from 2.6 to 3.2 to 3.6 as the main abnormality? Dr. Bates, so MVX Plus citrate going up from 2.6 to 3.6. So, I don't know if they're eating, this is one thing I've been thinking about. Are they eating magnesium citrate capsules or a lot of citrus? I've seen research showing that there's no correlation of citrate in your blood with citric, high citrate in the diet or citric acid. But if they change their diet dramatically, maybe that's a factor. And that's a question I have for you. Did they change your diet dramatically? Nancy says vibration plates are very helpful if you have lymphedema. Yeah, very nice. Jeff, fibrin panels showed double the range prothrombin. Yeah, fragments 1+2 positive pi 1 4G deletion started lumbar kinase. How long is before you retest MVX Plus? Oh, you could retest that in 6 weeks or something. Then you want to retest the hypercoagulation panel in 3 months. Glyc-A 359. Okay, cool. What are your thoughts on Scientology? I'm a fan. It saved my life. It increased my IQ by 20 points from 139 or 130 to 151. And yeah, I'm a big fan. Hey doctor, hey Dan. So give me another question. So with MVX Plus, IQ was the reason? No, yeah, it was part of the reason. It straightened out my life, straightened out all my relationships. I fixed up my business. When I was new in my business, I graduated from school in 1997. I started my business right away, and it was a terrible experience. I was a total mess. It wasn't fun, and here's why. I grew up on a farm, and I spent 17 summers on the farm since the age of 9. And at one point, and I loved driving tractors and forklifts and lawnmowers and stuff, but when you're on top of a tractor, just picture that, you're on top of a John Deere 3020 and the engine's right there in front of you, and people are telling you to go or ho. Ho means stop. Go, ho. They rhyme, and I can't hear them because the engine's so loud, and they're mad at me because I don't know if they want me to stop or proceed as I'm driving the tractor. And I just decided as a young kid to never talk to anybody else ever for the rest of my life. So then fast forward to 1997, I'm starting my practice and I'm talking to patients, and it was terrible. And I just had this spiritual turmoil. about talking to people. Scientology fixed that in one course. I took a course on communication that fixed it. And then in my practice for 6 years, totally sucked. I hardly saw anybody. I was in poverty. And within 1 year after that course in Scientology, it quadrupled my practice and I was completely maxed out. My schedule was completely filled up in 1 year. And it's been great ever since. There's my answer to that. And all kinds of other benefits. So solving problems in life. It's like a cheat code to living in life. Okay. Question: when my wife walks, she gets dizzy, fainting type. So you can call that like POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or fainting spell. So you have to find out why. And, there are so many reasons why. I run MVX Plus, find out if she's malnourished. Maybe she's got some infection, inflammation, toxicity. I have a patient who I just saw last week. The last time I saw her was in December of 2024. And I saved her life like 10 years ago because she was having mini strokes, or TIAs. And she's a vegan by religion, vegan, Buddhist. And yeah, Laura, I hear ya. Communication course, yeah. Okay, cool. But I'm still curious. Yeah, check it out. So 10 years ago, I told her, I was like, you need to eat meat. She's a Buddhist. I told her, you need to eat meat. I don't care, chicken, fish, beef, whatever. She started eating beef. Totally against her religion. But within 6 months, all her symptoms were gone, and she's never had a TIA since. It's been 10 years. And I told her, I was like, how can you like serve your, I don't know, meditate? How can you meditate when you're stroking out? Like, you got to pick your food or your religion. I don't know how I phrase it, but she started eating meat. Anyways, when I saw her last week, she's been having high blood pressure spikes. Maybe, 5 times a year, 6 times a year. And it goes up to 200 over 100. She goes to U of M hospital, and they give her some drugs, but it doesn't really work. And she sees an acupuncturist who's like from China. He's a doctor of Oriental medicine. And he says some theory. And she's telling me this, and I'm like, it's your house. And I'm thinking of the temple where she stayed or stays, or I'm just like, it's your house. It just makes sense to me. The cycling of blood pressure up and down, depending on the weather, depending on stress, depending on diet. There's reasons why blood pressure goes up and down. And she goes, I don't live in that house. She goes, they built me a new house in the backyard. It's a little mini, tiny house. I said, when did you move into that tiny house? She goes, 4 years ago. And then I said, when did your blood pressure start spiking up? And she goes, 3 years ago. I was like, it's your house. It's either mold, gas leak, or radon. And it could be, water leak causing a gas leak. She goes, it's a brand new build. I was like, okay, I'm telling you, mold, gas leak, radon. It's one of those 3 things. Figure it out. And she goes, she put plastic over the windows because our, winters get cold here in Michigan. And she's kept the plastic on the windows in the summer too. So she's not getting fresh air. And maybe there is radon coming up. I don't know if they tested for radon. She didn't say that they did, so they probably didn't. So yeah, I think that most people who have high blood pressure problems, maybe not most, but a lot, are because of the buildings that they occupy. Whether it's work or home, they're in a moldy building, or radon building, or gas leak building. So you have the environmental factors, and then you have the diet. So yeah, somebody with high, a high sugar diet, it can destroy your arteries, your A1C goes up and all that stuff for sure. But you got to look at the environment too. It's really important. Radon. Radon in Southeast Michigan is high. Yeah. And there's also arsenic in the water west of me, like Grass Lake, Michigan, Manchester. Arsenic. I had a woman, she was in an old Michigan house, and they used to build the basement walls with these like rocks, river rocks. They're like this big. And you just concrete them in. This house is 150 years old. And the basement was all dirt. So she decided that she was going to encapsulate that, and she did. But in the meantime, they dug up. There's like dust in the air. It got into the vents and it got into the house, and she had a terrible time. And arsenic poisoning is what happened to her. And she put on some weight. She was really skinny, but she put on like 10 pounds, and she got super unhealthy. She didn't see me. This was at a different time, and she saw somebody else, and she had arsenic poisoning because of the soil in the basement of her house. So, anyways, these are things that people have to deal with in the environment. Question: So yeah, I don't know if I really obey me some about your wife and her fainting. You have to find out why. Cardiologist to me, try aged garlic extract for hypertension. Yeah, so garlic for hypertension, that's kind of hit or miss. Garlic will make you urinate more. It'll clear out your kidneys. So maybe if you have kidney dysfunction, the garlic might help that. But I've put a lot of people on garlic and it didn't help. So you have to keep digging for that. Run MVX Plus. What about low blood pressure? Low blood pressure CC is I use a product from Standard Process called Vascular, and that'll raise up blood pressure and make you feel stronger. Usually it's thin white women, older age. Could be younger, of course, but they have low blood pressure. That's a problem. So Vascular, it's just like stimulating to the cardiovascular and arterial, system. And I have women on it I got a woman on it for 15 years, and she just needs it. And she doesn't take it, she kind of gets a little tired. So how do you feel about statins? That's a really good question. So statins, obviously they lower LDL. And why would you lower LDL? Because cardiology tells us LDL causes cardiovascular disease. But there are other causes of cardiovascular disease. And there are people taking statins with no benefit whatsoever. And they do numbers needed to treat. So they're trying to, put 5,000 people on a statin drug in order to save one person's life. Like, that's not really good medicine, right? Like, that's epidemiology, or but if you have if you have heart disease from mold, statins won't work. I know a guy with normal LDL for the last 25 years, somebody really close to me, and he got a stent put into his artery last fall. And his LDL and cholesterol have been normal for as long as I've known him. So the LDL does not cause plaquing. He's got an infection. I know you can have a nanobacteria in your body that causes plaquing. It was only discovered in like 1998-9 or something. It's a new discovery. And this guy gets fast plaquing on his teeth, and he has to go to the dentist 4 times a year because he gets so much tartar. Well, that's the same mechanism in the teeth as it is in the arteries. So I think statin drugs are way overused. I think cardiology and medicine have to expand their knowledge about what causes heart disease. So this past spring, when I spent 18 days in the sauna at 4 hours a day, I had to get a physical exam before that. So I went to a medical doctor, and his nurse came in first and said, "Do you have heart disease?" And I was like, "I have terrible symptoms right now because of a gas leak." She goes, "Yeah, but do you have like heart disease?" And I said, in 2016, I thought I was going to die from mold. I had high blood pressure, and I had terrible thoughts, and I couldn't breathe. And it was my heart, like mold in my heart. She goes, "Yeah, but do you have plaquing in your arteries?" And I said, "No, never in my life." She goes, "Okay, good." So it's like, wait, I almost died twice from mold, gas leak, affecting my heart so badly. Like in 2016, I got 4 EKGs. I went to the cardiologist twice. And then last year with the gas leak, I went to ER in May. Like I'm thinking about, okay, as a matter of fact, it's so scary. I just developed a trust and a will. I just signed those documents last week. And there's no reason for me I'm 53, but I sense death so badly. I got a trust and a will last week. But this nurse was asking about plaquing in the arteries. It's like, well, I almost died from heart disease, but there's different causes, right? There's infections, there's toxins, there's mycotoxins from mold, and you can have a virus, you can have bacterial, you can have myocarditis, you can have, there's studies showing like high cadmium, lead, tin, and mercury causing heart disease, heart pathology. So there's a home testing kit for radon, and somebody just shared that on TikTok. I think it was like $38. Amazon radon test for $18. Hey, Dr. Schmidt, are AGEs that serious? No, they're not. The AGEs are supposedly really bad. They're part of meat. They're the brown part when you cook meat and you get like a brown seared section. But AGEs are from vegetables too. So I think that's been blown up. There's a lot of things that are blown up, like these single chemicals. There's another example for meat. I forgot it. Oh, two. It begins with a T. TMOR. Right. mTOR. mTOR. mTOR is a single chemical, and people say, oh, it causes heart disease when you eat meat. mTOR goes up. And then, but I read the research paper on it, and it says, well, mTOR goes up, and maybe this will happen, then maybe this will happen, then maybe this. It has all these maybes. And I do think that some people, a very, very small percentage, have a serious mTOR problem, and you can do a blood test for that. Yeah, I just saw a thumbs down go through my screen. Somebody didn't like what I just said. But you can do a blood test for mTOR. And there's the thumbs up. And so I think it's way overblown, but test for it. Low dose statin helps stabilize soft plaque, doesn't it? You know what? I'm not gonna go there, cause why does somebody have a soft plaque? I'm all about the cause. Get to the cause. So are you still like fully carnivore? No, I'm 90% carnivore. GD. I've been 90% carnivore, give or take, since 2018. So I got 2 rib steaks waiting for me. That's for tomorrow. 2 rib steaks. What's your experience with Standard Process Cardio Plus? It's a great supplement. I love that product. So TikTok, I'll get to you in a second. As a provider, could I contact your office about the steps to do after we do the blood draw at my office? I don't think there is a LabCorp in my town. I'm not sure I understand the procedure. Oh, you just got to get your blood drawn at LabCorp, but if you have like, you can have maybe a traveling phlebotomist to come to your office. So yeah, that's how you do that. So all right, I have a calcium score of 63. Have plaque, have to be on statin. Okay, I mean if that's what you're told. Nanobac-TX is a product that lowers your calcium score. There's also one called Cavadex. There's another one called Med5. There's 3 supplements that lower the calcium score. But if you have plaquing with high lipoprotein A, you need niacin to bring that down and lumbrokinase to bring that down. And it's all about fibrin. In this case, I'm just telling you that if you have high fibrin in your blood, and there's a test for that, and you also have high lipoprotein A, you don't want to take a statin, because the statin drug can increase plaquing by 20-30%. And that information is readily available there's a test called the hypercoagulation panel, sold through Professional Co-op, and they have an interpretation guide attached with that lab, and it explains all the details as to why you might have plaquing, and it's not just a statin deficiency. It tests 11 factors, and you go through those factors. It includes genetics, it includes biochemical processes breakdown, it includes nutritional deficiencies. So that's part of what my message is, that LDL, cardiologists on social media talk about LDL, 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 but I just told you there's 11 other factors in this hypercoagulation panel. And it doesn't even include infections. It doesn't include nanobacteria. It doesn't include toxicity. There's got to be 25 causes of plaquing in the arteries. If it was just LDL, then again, the rate of heart disease has not changed in 30 years. It's about 6,500 people per 100,000 persons. So if it was all about LDL, heart disease would go away. But that's not the solution. We need more data. We need more information. We need to expand. If you're going to treat somebody for plaquing in the arteries, you should be able to diagnose all of this, not just this, but you got to know all this. So, like, I swear I would have died last year had I not found B1, which mitigated the rate of the gas leak. Okay, cool. Um, I'm skeptical about the AGEs. One of the longest living women was 114 and ate bacon every day. Yeah. These are exceptions to the rules. All these risk factors, there's exceptions. Like my grandmother died at 98 a few years ago. She never exercised. And so when somebody says you need to exercise to live long, I don't believe it. And like if I exercised last year, it would not have made me live longer because I had the gas leak. I would drive to the gym last year, sit in my car for 30 minutes trying to breathe, and then just drive away. I couldn't even go to the gym. You can't tell me to go exercise to live longer or for heart health when I'm living in a gas leak. See, there's all, and if people have parasites, they got viruses, they got toxins, and you're gonna tell them go exercise more. I mean, some people can't even walk upstairs. Don't tell them to go exercise more. You got to detox their body. So, I'm sorry. Is a coronary plaque score of 2,800 a lot? It is a lot. My family member found he had such a score, and we want to find the best remedies. Nanobactx, that's supplement. And the point is, you want to make that 2,800 stay exactly the same year after year. It can't go higher than an increase of 15% per year because now you have an unstable plaque. So keep that 2,800 the same. What's your take on building muscles or general advice? Work out and eat the carnivore diet. Nanobactx is super expensive. I have not been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. I've now been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and experiencing hand tremors. What do I need to do? So I've had people with hyperthyroidism get better with some of the calming minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium. There's a supplement from Standard Process called Organically Bound Minerals, which is pretty good. And one time I had a patient, this is a wild story, hear me out. And so she's hyperthyroid, her pulse is double, her blood pressure is high, her face is red, she can barely speak. And it's like a Tuesday she goes, my doctor wants to eliminate or kill off my thyroid by Friday or on Friday. We had like 4 days or something to fix her up. So I had her take her pulse right then and there. It was high. And I gave her this organically bound minerals tablet from Standard Process. And I had her chew it. And she had her kid with her who wanted to go to the bathroom. I said, okay, go. So she led the kid down the hallway into the bathroom, came back, and I said, okay, take your pulse. And it was almost normal. Just like that, just by adding in this organically bound minerals from Standard Process. And over the course of several years, her thyroid would go hyper, hypo, like this, and then it totally normaled out. And she was with me for like 10 years. And her thyroid is always normal. For, and then I haven't seen her in a while. So hyperthyroidism. I have another patient, check this out, hyperthyroidism. Her TSH is like, less than 0.1 for like the last year and a half. I ran MVX Plus on her and it showed that she was toxic. So I put her on, detox products right away. The next time, and she was running her TSH like every, 6 or 8 weeks maybe. The next time she ran it, her TSH was 6.0. Like it flipped from hyper to hypo. It was amazing. I have an easier time with hypothyroidism. So anyways, I put her on some iodine and some bovine thyroid, dried bovine thyroid. So that was really cool. MVX Plus, flipping your thyroid from hyper to hypo, and then we'll just fix that. Dr. Schmidt, I was diagnosed with carotid artery plaque. What do you recommend? Nanobactx. And you have to find out why. Do you have an infection? You started Saruta, which is amazing, and B1, which is amazing. Victory. And I don't know what your diet's like. What's your favorite garlic supplement? I use MediHerb, garlic, Forte, or standard processed garlic. So salt, low blood pressure. My doctor told me salt everything. Yeah, that's good, Laura. And then Vasculin. Type 1 diabetic, any help with standard process? No, I would do high dose B1. But you got to find out some like, if you got to fix up everything else that you can potentially fix up. So run MVX Plus and see what's going on there. Jack, why are you giving advice like you're an endocrinologist? This person needs to be put on a TSH medication for hyperthyroidism. Yeah, I'm not. You mean like hyperthyroidism, right? So like, no, I've fixed people's thyroids hypothyroidism before. As a matter of fact, here's another story. So I had this woman, and she was on Armour Thyroid, and I put her on iodine and some other thyroid herbal support or something. And over the course of a year and a half, her endocrinologist kept testing her thyroid levels, and her medication dosage went down, down, down. She got off Armour Thyroid, and she had been on some kind of a thyroid medication for 50 years. She was just simply iodine deficient the whole time. So I've had other people get off thyroid medications, but then I've had other people not be able to get off thyroid medications, no matter what I did. So yeah, go see a medical doctor, go do whatever you want to do with the endocrinologist. And in the meantime, find the cause. So Jack's saying not some BS supplement. Yeah, supplements are like way more powerful than medications in many instances. And when you use supplements and diet correctly, then you don't need these medications. It's just that simple. So there you go, Jack. Can you take magnesium glycinate every day for life? Yes, you can. Hey, I like what I dropped in on. Oh, cool. Avocado mama. Exactly. Oh, giving me badges. Thanks. Dr. Eric Berg eats a variety of cheese every day. I'm going to comment on that. That's good. He said cheese can prevent kidney stones. I grew up on cheese and dairy, never had a kidney stone nor blood clots. Granted, I am obese at 40. So here's the thing about cheese. It's kind of a high carb, it's a high energy food. So high carb, high fat, kind of lower in protein. And I don't know, I'm sure Dr. Berg has some kind of a chemical explanation as to why it prevents kidney stones. I don't know. But I wish I'd seen the video. Okay, but hear me out on this. So I have a patient. She has been doing the carnivore diet for 4 years, maybe longer. And she actually gained weight on it. And then last year, she decided to stop all dairy. So she did. And she's down 50 pounds. She's carnivore, gained weight, stopped the dairy, losing weight, way below what she had ever been before. Okay, so dairy can make you be overweight. And that's probably more important for you. I mean, there are people who are kidney stone formers. They make stones. And they have infections and stuff, or they have genetics for that. So I got a girl, check this out. She's 30. And this poor girl has had like 40 kidney stones in her life. It's a really bad and painful. And she has a baby. Her daughter, probably 7 years old, I'm going to say. Not a baby, but a 7-year-old. And so the last time I talked to this patient was maybe 3 months ago. And then prior to that, it was in the fall or December. And we talked, she was going to the ER hospital for a kidney stone. And I gave her fast food from standard process and Cater from systemic formulas. Fast food is phosphorus and it pushes calcium out. So when you take in phosphorus, calcium leaves. When you take in calcium, phosphorus leaves. And so I had her do like 2 squirts a day. And then when I saw her this spring, she was in love with fast food from standard process. Like she was so happy. All the pain was gone. So I haven't talked to her in a long time. So, just saw a hematologist starts 5 rounds of iron transfusions. PCP said my levels were fine. There's a reason why iron would be low. Parasites will deplete iron. You have to do, I run MVX Plus and find out why. What is the recommended dosage for nanobacteriacs? 1 pill per 20 pounds of body weight before bed, empty stomach. So if you weigh 200 pounds, it's 10 pills. And where do you find the supplement? My website is mothernaturesshop.com. It should be on there. Hey, do you get a personal number for the person can reach you and talk to you about their health? No, I don't give out my personal number at all. Reginald, you got to become a patient. You got to go through my whole system, call my front desk. They got a whole process. Would love to see you do a live about the gut microbiome. Maybe someday. Cheese binds the oxalates. Okay. All right, cool. Turmeric strengthens the aorta. Okay, good, sure. Some people can do dairy, yeah. Yeah, so we're talking about nourishing here. We're talking about adding cheese, and we're talking about adding fast food. We're talking about adding. A lot of people ask me about what should I take? What should I add? And the answer is, yeah, you should add good stuff, but the primary thing is to detoxify. Yeah, detox, metals, chemicals, parasites, etc. Yeah, my front desk is doing very well. Thanks, Laura. Yeah. All right, cool. So I've been at this for 41 minutes. Ask me another question. This is kind of not good for my health to be in front of these lights at 10:30 at night on a Sunday night because I get revved up, and then I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep. So tonight I was thinking, okay, I'll only be on for 30 minutes. Is it okay to fast as a diabetic? I mean, you got to control your or check your blood sugar and ketones. If you're, yeah, it's okay to fast as a diabetic, but check your blood glucose and make sure it doesn't go down too low. You got to get that under control. So, do you know any good doctors in Ohio? You're asking me too fast. I gotta do a Google search for that. Not off the top of my head as I'm talking about this now. Is there a correlation between migraines and carotid artery plaque? Probably. Yeah. There's a lot of different causes for migraines. Organisms and toxins. That's my answer all the time. My answer is always the same. Look for all the infections. Look for all the toxins. Get them all out. Look for mitochondrial dysfunction. Look for inflammation. Run MVX Plus. Run MVX Plus. That's where it's at. I bought tests from your office. Need to go get labs done. Yeah. Like any symptom, any chronic symptom. You've had a symptom for more than 3 months. Run MVX Plus. If you're healthy, run MVX Plus. If you're an athlete and you want to stay sharp, run MVX Plus. You're an accountant and you're getting ready for next year's tax season, you want to have a sharp brain, run MVX Plus. If you're obese and you have arthritis, run MVX Plus. That's what it gives you, that 30,000 foot view. So you look down on your health, it's like infection, inflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, toxicity, and then you go down those paths. Do you need to do more testing? Do you need to start taking supplements? And supplements are the things that fix your body up. Statins, oh, by the way, so somebody's asking me about statins. Statins do not improve your MVX score. That was already tested at Duke University. It's supplements to the rescue. I wonder if soy and all beans were meant to even be food. I don't think so, considering they are toxic when raw. Yeah. So just picture, this is my analogy. You picture a bear in the woods eating beans, and they can't be digested. So the bear walks another 10 miles and poops it out. And boom, that's how the plant propagates. Is it just the beans do not get digested in the gut. So humans have to, boil beans and all that stuff. Now, plants are medicine. So I had a woman come up to me. She talked about her child. I forgot what beans she used, that cleaned up the kid's gut and really fixed his behavior problems, ADD type problems. I just started doing your 7 steps course and I don't know where to start. Start with step 1. I need a lot of things to do, but I am overwhelmed. How do I do the MVX Plus? Go to the upper right corner of the front page of my website, and the nhcaa.com. Upper right corner says MVX test, and you can order it from there. Can you take inositol and D-ribose together to help with heart failure? Yes, you can. And then why does somebody have heart failure? Toxins, infections. Yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Bates. Cheese, yeah. Cool. I'm gonna go. Okay, cool. Thanks for all the questions and hanging out with me. And I'm gonna go try to chill out since you got me all riled up. Okay, see ya. Bye.